Hi, good day. My name is Peter Jordan. This is the second video that I'm doing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, my partner, and the work that we have been doing. And then I'm going to talk about the um, structures around what is sexual abuse, the kind of definition of it, what is child sex abuse, and the symptoms of child sexual abuse, what happens to them, how do they behave, etc., etc. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about can sexual abuse be healed, and the answer to that is most definitely. So with that, I'd like to get stuck in, but then there's the other part that we've done is that what would life be like once the healing has happened, and I'll talk a little bit about our experience and what happens in each. Okay. The need for proper psychological education on molestation, child sex abuse, rape, forced and unwanted sex, and its impact is huge in the world. There is a lack of web information in this field, and this is an attempt to try and resolve this in some small way. The effect of the effect on one, try that again. The effect of any one of these on any child is unimaginable and has a direct impact on her or his life in every aspect of her or his life for the rest of their life until they actually deal with this problem. I have found it to penetrate the home where this has occurred, the school, the post-school career, the work arena, relationship arena, parenting arena, personal health issues, personal outlook, and the perception of self, and so on and so on. Many don't even know or even think that it is possible to break free from the cloak of your sexual abuse. And yes, it is. My partner and I, Linda, have been working with many abuse survivors over the past 12 years. Most, if not all, have managed to move on to healthy relationships, have a good education, good working environments, and many have managed to go into business for themselves and become really, really successful. Without doing the internal work in solving this problem within a person, many of those things would simply not be possible. Our experience has shown that it is possible. You too can benefit from this. This is the most precious gift you can give to yourself. In fact, this is your best investment ever. It will be, with the benefit of hindsight, when you've gone through the whole process, that you will realize and say that without this growth, it would not have been possible for me to achieve this or that. This site is designed to be educational and to show survivors the impact on their life, as well as some suggestions that could contribute to the effect of breaking free and healing. The site has three components to it. The first being the overview, the second being a bit more detailed and to give you a high-level insight into the self. And the third is to give you an inexpensive book, and a detailed book, which will form part of this. And when I do the video, I will also give you a link onto each section of this book, where it is that you can look at the PDF. It will be on screen. It won't be something that you can download, because it is, I want to turn this into a whole book. But I want to get the feedback from everybody on there, so as to see, well, what do I need to add? What do I need to take out? Where is it that people understand? Where is it that they don't understand? So this is a team effort between yourselves and myself. And it's a lot of work from my side to get this thing done, but I will do it, okay? Because it's to the benefit of everybody. And through the process, it is that you would heal substantially from this. So as you can gather, that this is a huge task of something, but I'm taking it on because there's a lot of people who need to understand this. Okay, so let's move on. The sexual abuse definition. Sexual abuse is any sort of non-consensual sexual contact. Sexual abuse happens to both men and women of any age. Sexual abuse by a partner, even an intimate partner, can include derogatory name-calling, a refusal to use contraception, deliberately causing unwanted physical pain during sex, deliberately passing on sexual disease or infections, or using objects or toys or other items. These could be maybe baby oil or lubricants, without consent, and to cause pain and humiliation. Now, I want to just expand a little bit on this. Sexual abuse comes about when somebody even just touches you inappropriately. Now, you know, there's one thing where it is that you're all in a crowded train and somebody touches you and it wasn't meant on purpose, or maybe it was, or something, okay, that's not something there. Now, that's also a form of sexual abuse, okay, on the thing. Now, sexual abuse does not include, and is not mandatory to have penetration. Sexual abuse can just be playing, touching, using, penetrating, not penetrating with the penis, but penetrating with the fingers, or, you know, anything like that. It's sexual abuse is something where it's non-consensual. Okay, that's the key word. It's the non-consensual things where it is that something is happening to somebody and they're either not old enough to understand, okay, which makes it definitely non-consensual. Okay, one thing. Child sex abuse. Child sex abuse can be termed as any sexual act with a child performed by an adult or an older child. Child sex abuse could include a number of acts, including but not limited to sexual touching of any part of the body, whether clothed or unclothed, penetrative sex, including penetration of the mouth or by the tongue or other means, encouraging a child to engage in sexual activity, including masturbation, intentionally engaging in sexual activity in front of a child, showing children pornography or using children to create pornography, encouraging a child to engage in prostitution. All of those are deemed sexual abuse. Symptoms of child sexual abuse. I have found that educating adults on sexual abuse behavior can assist them in watching out for changes in their behavioral patterns and may indicate sexual abuse, such as a noticeable fear of a particular person or of a certain place or particular place, okay? A change in behavior, such as a sudden quietness or being withdrawn, not wanting to play or be part of the normal group, unusual response from the child when asked if he or she was touched, an unreasonable fear of a physical exam, drawings that show sexual acts, abrupt changes in behavior such as bedwetting or losing control of his or her bowels, a sudden awareness of genitals and sexual acts and words, attempting to get other children to perform sexual acts. Whenever a child has been subjected to some kind of abuse, there is always an immediate change of some sort. Okay? When you notice that there is a sudden, immediate change, this is when your antennas need to become alert. You need to look and you need to find out what is going on that thing. And then it is also to look around at who or how it is that your child has been affected and why. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to address what the perpetrators do, how the whole grooming process works. Okay, now, when this happens to a child, what do we do? Can it be healed? Working with a child usually requires a specialist in the field, and there are many clinics that can help through behavioral therapy. These therapies usually bring the child to a place where he or she can cope with life, and it gives them confidence to move through life, knowing that support is not far away. However, the deep emotional and spiritual healing usually happens much later in life, and that's where this work fits in, okay, on the thing. I have been asked many times to help with the young child in there. I have always referred to them to people that have got the skills and have got the framework around them to help them with these kinds of problems with kids. And because the kids are interacting with other kids that have been subjected to a similar kind of thing, there's a camaraderie that develops between them. And it's normally very difficult for me as an outsider to work with a child. And it's normally best for that child to go into a clinic of some sort where there are other kids and where this can be, and they can play and they do the various things, and it helps them to overcome and to manage in a way, okay? But the deep emotional and the spiritual side of things stays with them, the problems, the emotional problems, stay with them until they get much older. And normally, if a parent is aware that their child has been sexually abused, when they get into their mid-teens or late teens, even the early 20s, that's the ideal time to catch this thing and to solve it. Early teens does work, not always very, very well. The early teens generally, they like to hear about it, but the integration of it within them is quite difficult. And it's something that they find that they have to revisit by the time they get to 19, 20, 21, 22 even. Other thing, but it gives them a sense of belonging and a sense of connection. The sexual abuse survivor carries with them a real heavy cloak that invades every aspect of their life. It must be dealt with in its entirety to free the survivor completely. And that's where it comes much later on in life. All sexual abuse can be healed. All sexual abuse can be healed with the right amount of dedication of the survivor and the right skilled therapist. There are many, many therapists that have very little idea of how to deal with sexual abuse. In fact, there are many, many therapists that have been sexually abused that go into this field that don't really understand how to heal themselves. That's the reason that they got into the job, is to try and heal themselves on it. This is not and you'll see through the process that we work, is that the way that I have structured it, it's simple, it's a profound thing. It's not something that you will find in the university textbooks. It is something that has evolved over time, and I'm grateful for all of the university knowledge that I gained from that. But the approach in here is it's a spiritual approach. It's a holistic approach involving the three aspects: the mind, the feelings, and the spiritual side of you. And they're using a understanding of the way that your energy body works on the inside of you. Sexual abuse requires a specialist understanding and healing process. The average therapist has very little idea of how to deal with it deeply. And it's not that they are bad people. It is that much of the training hasn't gone into, because this is such a big field. The healing of people, the psychological healing of people. Sexual abuse is but one small area on it, and yet sexual abuse is such a big area. So in the teaching process and things, you get a small little window of exposure to it, and that's why it is that many don't fully understand this area, and many simply don't have the appetite to actually do it on them. So generally, many therapists will try using the usual techniques, and these are not usually comprehensive enough. It is best to find somebody who is specialized in the field to work with you. You can always do the conventional therapy with your original therapist once you've healed this part of you. And I would encourage you to go and do that and to say, well, this is what I've done, this is how I have resolved, and this is what it is I have done to resolve this issue. And then now I need to address this and this and this and that. Okay, one thing. And if you can do that, fabulous. Our experience has taught us that to heal sexual abuse, it has to be treated holistically, meaning it has to be approached from the mental, the spiritual, and the feeling and body experience. Each has to be dealt with on its own, and all four have to be integrated into a unit. Once done, a complete transformation has occurred, and the survivor can move on and have a healthy life free from the cloak of sexual abuse. It is possible to get there, and many have done it, and so can you. The work is so structured that as you work through it in a chronological sequence, that healing will already start to take place. Please take each section and work through it in order, in the order that it is given. It has been structured this way for a very good reason. It is logical, structural, and it will enable you to fully understand and integrate the sections that come later on in a completely seamless way. We have approached it from the building block perspective. Each block feeds into the other, which in turn feeds into the overall healing. It may not seem to you that way as you work through it, but as you complete and as you move through it more and more, you will start to see the big picture start to emerge and how it all fits together. If you jump around on it, you could become confused and not fully understand why you behave this way, or why that is, or why we are saying this. Okay, because it is you would have missed out on the building block. So it is important for you to follow it in a chronological order, and each of these are going to be numbered that way. So please work with them sequentially. It's very important. Peter, that's me, and my wife Linda have worked with hundreds of sexually abused women and men successfully over the past 15 years. Many say that it's a daunting task to work with a man. Many women say that it's a daunting task to work with a man, work with me. Okay, and thing. Because it is that, you know, it's such a sensitive area. But once they've gone through the whole process, and then many turn around and say, wow, I was abused by a man, and now a man has healed me. And so it is through that process women get a completely different perspective on how men can be on them. And that's normally quite a revelation for them. And this happens vice versa with with men that have been sexually abused, and then they work with a woman. Some men like to work with men, and some women like to work just with women. Whichever way works best with you. Many of them say, I have completely changed my life, and now I am finally enjoying a good, healthy relationship with a man. That's the women that have been sexually abused. And the reverse is also true. And Linda has been through that with many men, and she functions well with it. Don't be scared. Don't let it frighten you. Don't let it hold you back. Many say, and you'll hear them, okay? I will invite guests to come and speak on the program on it, and you'll hear them. You'll hear what they have to say. What would life be like post-healing? All of our clients report that the burden that they were carrying has been lifted. They are free and can now, for the first time, pursue life in all of its aspects to the max. Many have gone on to exceptional careers, good, flourishing romantic relationships, excellent friendships with friends and colleagues. They all feel they are in control of their life, and they are the director of their life, rather than being the victim of their life and being in a way of an accident waiting to happen. We have, over the years, pieced together a structured program that addresses the heart of the issues relating to sexual abuse. We have placed a portion on our website, that's I Empower Self, for the public to pursue. There's a whole program there, and the balance is in our book and on YouTube. And somehow or other, people seem to prefer learning through the visual of YouTube and hearing as opposed to reading. There seems to be a shift in the way that humanity is working there. As I said, the approach is for a small fee. It is that you can get a huge amount of information and you can revisit it again and again and again until it becomes a part of you. You can also read certain aspects of this, and I'll put links on the video below for the aspects that I feel it's important for you to perhaps read, because some people are actually visual. Okay, some people want to see the words and they want to hear what it is that we are saying, and they want to combine it. Other people are happy just to go with the whole video experience. And, I have to cater for both of you. Linda and I wish to thank you deeply for listening and really look forward to working through the rest of this program with you. If we are lucky enough to meet you one day in a one-on-one session to resolve anything special or to solve some or other issue, we would also love it. As stated, if after you worked through a session you need something extra or something to be explained, we will help you free of charge for the first 10 minutes. Okay, and that can be a Skype call, it can be a telephone call, it can be something. Just not emails, because I can't write things on there. I can do video stuff, or I can do audio stuff, and I can put an audio message on your email to respond. But anything after 10 minutes, it is our normal charges will then take place. So when you've got the framework, generally we can solve things quickly in 10 minutes. On that happens to lots of people. But if you're really stuck and there's something else, then it is we book a session. We book a session for an hour. And of course that hour is then payable, because it is, we've also got bills to pay just like everybody else. Thank you very much, and do take care, and God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.